Welcome back to the Pull the Chair podcast brought to you by the Grid Network. I am your host, Paris Brown. With me, my co host, Dylan Lima. How are you doing on our first playoff basketball week, man?
Oh, it's finally that time of the year, Paris. We finally hit that moment where we're seeing the best of the best go at each other, and we no longer have to talk about tanking teams and teams that don't give a crap about trying. We finally have the teams that want to play. So, I mean, so far, most of the games have been good. There's been a couple blowouts here and there to start. We'll definitely get on that, but yeah, I'm definitely excited, man.
Man, those play at least first round of playing games. Those first round of playing games were very competitive. The second round, not as competitive. You had some blowouts, had some teams kind of really proving themselves, but the first round we had some really close games. Obviously, the Hornets and Heat game is really close. Definitely gonna talk about that as I was really pulling for the Hornets, and they kind of broke my heart second game. It was a really sad game they had second game. So talk about
Yeah,
that.
you're a heavy on the Hornets, man. I get it. You
That
know, I
was
mean,
that was a tough watch, man. That was a really tough from start to finish. That was a tough watch.
no doubt.
Obviously, Warriors are out of it now. So I mean, there goes Bryson's team for the Warriors. And again to them because I mean, what do they do now at this point? I kind of feel like it's the best we're gonna get out of that team. So
I saw a rumor circulating that supposedly Draymond Green was talking about that there's uncertainty with Steve Kerr returning to the team, that he's likely done there in Golden State, which would be a critical blow to them. I
yeah,
mean, obviously Steph is like the head of the Warriors. He's been a day one Hornet and I mean, Warrior and made the Warriors what they are now because they were not a good team before he
no,
would join. They were like the butt end of the joke, and then Curry made them way serious than most teams would ever want to be. So I think that also trends in such a way where who knows, maybe Steph might be done with the Warriors too. Because
yeah,
when you're Steph Curry, and you look at the Warriors, you can draw the parallels to the Bucks. I mean, you would say like, oh well, he's in California. You would think more people want to go there, but you know, you're not in the LA. You know, you're on the
yeah.
city of LA, so it's like it's kind of tough. I mean, regardless, it's still expensive to live out there, and clearly they're not quite the destination that um, they would otherwise want them to be. So I could
Yeah.
see him going, Kerr going, and just the big detonate button is looking very nice right now for the Warriors.
It sure is nice. So we'll definitely get into that. As I said, we got a lot of playoff games to talk about. Obviously, we got your stuff to talk about. They've only played one game, but dominated their one game. Wasn't even a close game. But before we get into any playoff games, I do want to mention because last week we were talking about awards, not playoff awards, NBA awards, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. And going into today, Victor Wembanyama unsurprisingly got unanimous Defensive Player of the Year for the first time in NBA history. That's kind of it's crazy. It's the first time in NBA history that's happened, but it's not surprising Wembanyama got it. Like you're not competing with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, of all people to do it, I feel like Victor Wembanyama, he like he just shows day in and day out that he's just that guy, and it's like the more you talk about him, the more he sounds like a folklore character, where it's just like he's a 7'5" dude that moves like a guard and friggin' well, like he doesn't have to jump to dunk, like you know, like he
Yeah,
his layup is still a dunk. So it's like, what can you do if you try to even get remotely close to him? And when you average 3 blocks a game. I mean that's just curtains right there. And the next closest guy was Chet Holmgren. And let's be honest, Chet Holmgren does not move the needle like Victor Wembanyama does. So
nowhere near.
no doubt, Wemby deserves the unanimous Depoy award.
But the real question is now the NBA has allowed Luca and Cade to be in conversation for the NBA awards, the MVP scoring title. Now we all talked about Luca. Luca missing it by one game, and that one game really being due to having a kid. We all were thinking if that was going to be an exception, he would get it, and he did get it. So that's good for him. But Cade Cunningham gets an exception. He was out with a actual injury.
I,
So,
It's tough because I mean he was also 1 game off of
hmm
the 65 game rule, and I keep on saying it time and time again. It's just a mockery. It's like it's such a bad look that the first year of this rule being implemented, you have two like what's supposed to be like crazy coincidences to happen where you're one game shy of winning these awards, and then obviously these both Luca and Cade are both in their right to feel cheated, especially when they were so close to getting All NBA. Respectively, both of them. Luka Doncic will definitely be credited for his scoring championship now, which
Yep.
again, much deserved considering that he was lapping everybody else. And yeah, I mean, like, it is very funny too that Anthony Edwards is a cutoff at 61 because he tried. And the NBA is like, whoa, 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 you missed 4 games, buddy. You didn't miss one, you missed four. So we ain't playing that. We're doing a little too much there. So yeah, they're definitely gonna move the rule now. Maybe try
Oh
to make
yeah.
it a little more lenient. They have to. I mean, you already have exceptions year one. So
Two exceptions in year one is insane. Again, I grade it for Luka Doncic. He definitely deserved it. But Cade, again, one game off is insane. But again, he had one game off due to an actual injury, made him miss games. Luka, that is something. Obviously, injuries are basically out of your hand. You're not going out there getting injured, but that's gonna happen. But the Luka situation, you got a kid. I mean, that's you gonna you gotta
I, I think the craziest thing about Cade is that he missed the last month of the season. Like he had a
right.
crazy injury with the collapse along. If he didn't
Mm-hmm.
have this absurd injury, he would have cleared the 65 game rule easily. So I'm not
Yep.
even that mad at Cade making it because again, he should definitely at one point he was in the MVP talks. He could have very well been a first team All NBA if he made it all the way through the season. But now he's probably looking more towards the second, maybe third team All NBA. And again, he's going to get penalized. 'Cause with the 64 games and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
like he won't get the same respect that maybe he would have otherwise got, but he at least gets some recognition at the very least.
Now, with that being said, does that change your outcome of who you think wins MVP? Especially with Luca being out now. Now, Cade, obviously, there is obviously a discussion with Cade. Kate was there for a while, but obviously the top has been Shy, Wemby, Jokic, and Luca. And Luca was about to be not in it, but now that he's been granted this, does that change your idea of who wins MVP this year?
No, I think Luka Doncic will get first team All NBA. I think that's a guarantee, but I still thought the MVP was a foregone conclusion for Shea the whole way. I mean, obviously, Jokic, like you were saying last week, definitely deserves a shout, but I think Luka was slotted in that third place spot regardless. And I mean, again, he had a fantastic end of the season. The Lakers turnaround became a 3 seed. Like, what more could you ask from a Lakers team that was looking not so hot going into the season? And I mean, we'll talk about it later, but hey, Luke Kennard and his Lakers team, who knows? Maybe
Luke Kennard, he's
he couldn't miss. Who says he'll miss at all for the rest of the series? You never know.
I
So,
guess not. So, I mean, obviously with me, last episode I talked about how I think Jokic deserves it. With Luca, I had a big thing with Luca getting it over Shea just because, and all at least offensive stat wise, Luca had him beating every single offensive stat. But again, Shy plays a better defense than Luca at the end of the day, and again, a lot of this MVP race does come down to success on the team, which to me feels kind of unfair because you being MVP has not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean your team has to be the number one seed. Obviously, Shea he most likely is going to win MVP. He's on the number one team in the league, but it isn't just Shy. Obviously, he's a leader, but they have a star team around him, all around Shy, and Shy is the head of that team. Luca has a good team around him, but it is it's Luca for that team. So, but
yeah, I'm
that obviously that comes into play when you talk about MVP races. It does.
yeah, of course, and it's one of those things where it's like he technically Luke is more valuable to his team than Shea is to the Thunder, but at the same time, the Thunder are the most valuable team. So being the best player on the
Yeah,
best team, like typically how that goes. I mean, you can talk about that in baseball and football. It's pretty unanimous as far as that goes for all these sports, and I mean, there is a lot of I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's all media, guys. Like, there's no like
mhm,
definite science or definition of how it goes. Like, I mean, players have been, not put in award races just by simply the media guys not liking them. So,
yeah,
and it's one of those things that I know Luca did have a couple headline worthy things I guess more personal stuff to be fair. Like it wasn't anything that bad per se, but Shea was just heads down day in, day out. Same production pretty much every single game this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to show, and I saw this like kind of right before we started the show. Shai has had the most effective scoring season out of any guard in NBA history. If I can pull it up real quick, if I can find it. But yeah, I saw things just talking about how his effectiveness this year is top out of any player in NBA history,
I mean,
even
that's just
over
part of his
Curry, like
game.
2016 year Curry.
Well, I mean, again, as far as efficiency goes, like, yeah, Curry was amazing at shooting threes, and
Mhm.
he did it better than anyone else. But Shea's game is just so perfect, where, I mean, the mid range is just an easier shot to make, and he just knows how to get to his spot. And teams are afraid to guard him because they know the Westall's coming if they get too
Yep,
close.
it's it's a remarkable year, man. And we obviously last year we thought he was a good year, and it only seems like he's upped his game this year, which you would expect out of a young player like him. But I mean, going into the season, he talked about how he used to want to have a 30-point game, and now a 30-point game is a bad game to him. And look at him, dropping about 30 points a game this season. So I mean,
I'm what's most amazing about him was that when he came from the Clippers, like he was the center point of that trade for to get
hmm
Paul George, and he was deemed a promising player at that point.
right?
But the way his game grew from then to now, he's grown every single year, one way or another.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say last year was maybe a more like amazing year out of
right.
Shea, but just again, the consistency night in and night out, keeping his 20-point streak alive every single night, no matter what, whether it's getting to the line or just hitting 9 to 15 shots and just getting there on free throws, like like you know, I I always hated when people on social media talk about efficiency and making that like such a big factor for certain players. When you look at someone like Shea, who is always like him missing is like, wow, we finally got a break. Like that's how
Yeah,
amazing he is at
yeah.
scoring. That like it feels like a holiday when he misses the ball, misses the shot. So yeah, I mean he's just been amazing.
And he's great at getting to the free throw line. He doesn't miss his free throws either. He makes sure he hits his shots and he hits his free throws, and he's great at getting to the free throw line. As we'll talk about just in his playoff game alone, because this one playoff game, he had 17 free throw attempts. So that's obviously going to be a topic to talk about. So let's get into the playoff game. And I know I'm normally leading it, but is there any game you want to start off with going into this play-in tournament round?
I mean, first off, let's talk about the Magic. So I remember I was talking very poorly about the Magic leading in to the playoffs, especially with how things were going. And then they lost the
We had a
first
lot
game in
of
the play.
We had a lot of talk about Paulo. We had a lot of shit talk, honestly, about Paulo going into the end of the season.
And I mean, like, look, especially that first game in the plane, I felt more than vindicated because it was just like it was the Desmond Bain show, and then Paolo had some of the most disgusting misses you've ever seen in your life, passing up open shots to take contested mid-range shots,
Had a Ben Simmons
and
game, looking like Ben Simmons out there.
I mean, shit. At least he's not afraid to shoot. I'll give him that. Like, I wouldn't go that disparaging on Ben Simmons. I mean, Ben Simmons is like my bottom bitch as far as people I like to shit on. So at least I'll give Paolo more respect in that aspect. And then and then when the Hornets, when they face off the Hornets the second time, Hornets are typically a great shooting team, just had a terrible game. One like a very very bad shooting night. And obviously that helped the Magic. It's like, all right, if you guys can't make your shots, we're making all of our twos the other
Yeah,
way. So we're just gonna make it out of hand early and make sure you guys have a chance. And then they go and win the first game of the series against the Pistons. So
yeah.
I gotta take back what I was saying about the Magic. I gotta be take them more seriously than I initially did.
I give it that. And we'll get to the Magic when we get to them. Let's start off with then. We'll start with the first game. The first game of the play-in tournament was the Hornets and Heat. What a game to start off the play-in tournament. Now I watched this game from start to finish because I was big on the Hornets going to the playoffs. Now, granted, I knew they were going to lose at some point, but I wanted them. I was expecting them to get into the playoffs, to get past the play and get into the playoffs. And how they were seeded, they'd have to face the Pistons in the first round, and I wanted to see them face the Pistons because I had a feeling they could at least take the Pistons 5, 6 games. I was gonna go all out and say, "Hey, they'll beat the Pistons," but I at least thought they'd be one competitive. but too entertaining. It'd be very entertaining to see because the last time the Hornets and Pistons faced, Pistons won, but that was a entertaining game. Just how they played and got pretty heated during from start of the game to end of the game.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, good.
Sorry. No, I mean, yeah, it was one of those games, especially for the Hornets, where it's like we kind of came to realize. I mean, we kind of knew what to expect from them because they're not a team that we are deemed fundamentally sound. Like they're very much like street ball, where it's
Yeah,
like
that's
anything
Lamelo's game.
goes. LaMelo Ball, especially, like if he would have been a basketball player no matter what, even if he didn't have the money, he would have been playing in Dykeman or somewhere in
Hmm.
New York City. Like he would have been somewhere hooping no matter what because he does play like it's a video game. And a
He
lot
does.
of what Brandon Miller does, what Concanippo being very vital to their 3-point shooting. And
Constantinople.
and it was like they had a lead going into the fourth quarter, and you kind of saw though the cracks showing with the Hornets when they were just turning the ball over, taking dumb shots. I mean, they're lucky that Kobe White sunk that three to tie the game to even go to overtime because that three saved them.
Kobe
Essentially, that saved
White
that game.
saved their season that entire game. Because Lamelo, granted, Lamelo was hot beginning of the game. Lamelo was hot, and Bridges. Bridges dropped 28 points that game in 43 minutes. Bridges did his thing. But second half, Lamelo was really nowhere to be found, and Kobe White took over that game. From third
Hmm.
quarter to the end of the game into overtime, Kobe White was their savior of that game.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at the stat lines where it's like LaMelo Ball took 31 shots, 2 of 16 from 3. You had Concanippo go 2 for 12, 0
Oh,
for
it
6
was
from 3.
terrible.
Like, you can't be having those stats. And granted, LaMelo Ball still managed to get 30 points and 10 assists that first game, but then it's like, I mean, again, they just got the right bounces go their way, and then come overtime, LaMelo Ball was able to get to the rack and get crucial points when needed to keep ahead and win that game. It
And again,
almost
they
kind of
almost
felt
blew it.
like,
Yeah, they almost blew it in overtime with the turnover and Tyler Hero hitting a three, and then Lamelo fouling him on a 3-point shot. Like they blew that in overtime.
yeah, I mean they're not what's it called, disciplined team. Like they definitely that's definitely something they're missing where like even if they don't get a talent upgrade, like they could very much use a Chris Paul to whip them into shape. They could very much
Some veteran.
use some
They,
old veterans that even if they're sitting on the bench and not really contributing on the court just to help these guys more because I don't think the coach really has command of that locker room. He doesn't really seem like he's running the show, so to speak. So and yeah, I mean, again, it definitely showed where like they were having some struggles in that Heat game. They had the lucky shots go in, and then riding into their following game, they just collapsed because going from a slump in a overtime game takes a lot of energy out of you, and
yeah.
especially when you're not rolling the way you should be, it was no surprise the way they came out flat
And I'm
afterwards.
not gonna put it against the coach just yet, just because this team has turned it around completely within 2 years of him being there. Obviously, the Hornets were bad when he took over, and first year they were still bad, but then his second year, he already has them in a playing game, and they haven't even been in the playoffs since 2016.
Hmm.
I will at least say he at least has turned this team around, so I give him respect for that. But this team is a 3-point shooting team. That's all, and that's all they know is to shoot threes. They can throw some alley oops here and there with Lamelo Ball. 'Cause Lamelo Ball, with his street ball type of play, he's gonna throw some alley oops to people. That's what he's gonna do.
And
Oh,
I do think Charles Lee is more than capable of keeping this team going. I mean, like looking at because again, he this is only his second year as a head coach and his second year as a Hornet, going
yeah,
from a 1963 season his first year, turning around a 44 and 38 season is
yeah.
nothing to scoff at. All the respect in the world to Charles Lee, and again, he's 41 years old. That's pretty young in the coaching world to be going.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean as long as they could keep on building on this, I could see the Hornets now looking like a guaranteed playing team next year, and then maybe keep pushing up little by little. But they definitely are a flawed team, and they probably wouldn't have gone past. I mean, they almost definitely wouldn't get past the first seed
And
Pistons.
you mentioned them needing a veteran, and we talked about the Warriors a little bit. What if they went after a player like Draymond Green? Do you see that doing something for them? At least with the veteran presence of a Draymond on the team.
I think Draymond Green would rather retire than go to Charlotte. Or let's just say he does decide to go to Charlotte because they give him the money to,
Uh-huh.
make it worth his time. I I mean, like what? He punched Jordan Poole in the face for being annoying. He's gonna be giving wedgies out in the locker room with the Hornets. He's gonna be in his friggin' Letterman jacket. He's gonna have his 4 championships going down his sleeve, and he's gonna be handing out wedgies to dudes.
Listen, if he did
Like,
with if he did with pause all season, I'm sure he can handle the Hornets. Come
well, I
on.
mean, again, it's like imagine having 4 pods on your team. It's not just one dude that you got to worry about, and it's like again, you never know what night you're getting from any of these guys, and
Yeah.
it's like. I forgot about Miles Bridges. I mean, he's not known for his character either. In fact, it's the opposite from him. So it's
Hey,
like,
Miles
I
Bridges.
mean,
Hey, Miles Bridges and Draymond gonna fight. They fight for each other.
well, if anything, that probably will get Draymond Green's respect, and he'll probably would maybe like
There
get
you go.
along a little better. I mean, now he might be talking me into Draymond Green and the Hornets now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think it's impossible, especially if the Warriors gonna blow up. Why
they
not?
they need that when they face the Pistons, man. They need that energy against the Pistons. The
Yeah,
Pistons gonna fight. They got Isaiah
yeah.
Stewart. Isaiah Stewart gonna fight anybody. So
Oh, buddy. Yeah, I mean he comes at the tunnel fighting. I mean it's like, yeah, they would definitely love Draymond Green in that situation.
and before we move on to the next Hornets game, because we've talked about the Heat, how do you feel about the whole Bam situation? The whole Lamelo falling and then Bam falling, and obviously he was out for the rest of the game. Which, granted, honestly, I think if he was in there for the rest of the game, people are gonna say the Heat would have won. I still think the Hornets win, just because the Hornets had a lead while he was there. Granted, he only played 11 minutes, so you don't get to see the full aspect. But like, they have to play different with Bam not being there, and that got him to overtime. So I don't know,
Well, I mean, the Hornets don't have a real big, and the Heat have a dude that scored 83 points in a game.
but okay.
So, I mean, like, I do think Bam would have made that game a lot different, because, like, especially if we talk about paint presence, like, who's to say LaMelo Ball would have been able to get those layups late in the game
That's
if
true.
Bam was in there in the paint. Um, and yeah, I mean, the Heat just play so much differently because I mean, Tyler Hero, he makes tough shots. He could score. But if I have to rely on him being my number one, it's over. Like, at least Bam was able to do more and take on more of that responsibility. And Norman Powell, as much as he's an all-star in quotes, like, trust, I don't think
Nolan
you want
Powell
him
really
to be
wasn't.
the main guy either.
Really was Davian Mitchell. Davian Mitchell and Andrew Wiggins that game. Them two really went all out that game.
Yeah, and if that's what you have to rely on to win your games, you're not going to win. I mean, I'll give respect to Andrew Wiggins because he came up huge in the last Warriors championship, and he was always someone that was drafted high and high energy dude that is talented. Davion Mitchell is definitely someone that's gonna be on my radar come next year. I mean, he's a short dude.
He
And,
is.
it's
He
like
is.
one of those things where it's like that can work, but for how long? Like, can you continue to be an offensive presence? Like, someone like a Payne Pritchard, for example, has that spectacular handles and shiftiness and can shoot deep bombs that he can be effective. Can Davion Mitchell do something similar? Maybe have a little more bounce?
Hmm.
Like, who's to say? I think he seems like someone that's going to be a big part of what the Heat do next year, but I'm not quite convinced yet. I have to see more of him.
So as I said, well, I was leading to this. The whole Bam situation. Do you think that was intentional?
Yeah. So I didn't even realize at first because apparently Ball and Bam were getting scrappy earlier in the game before the whole injury thing happened. And in that moment, I didn't even realize the Melo Ball threw him to the ground as he was falling. And like even on the replays, usually they're good at catching that, but I didn't even realize that happened until afterwards, the post game, when everybody was talking about what was going on with that.
Hmm.
And then I look back at it, you can very clearly see that yeah, Bam was kind of going over Lamelo, but Lamelo was like pushing him and guiding him to fall. Like I don't want to think the worst Lamelo Ball, but you kind of knew what was going on there, especially if they were being scrappy leading up to that part where there was going to be
Yeah.
something that was going to happen. Where even let's just say Bam didn't get hurt, he probably would have been up and friggin' mad at friggin' Lamelo. They probably would
Yeah.
have scrapped.
Hmm.
You know, like. So yeah, I mean that's definitely questionable and only reinforces my negative beliefs in the Hornets' immaturity. Because if you have to rely on hurting their best player to keep a close game, yeah, I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
you're not built to last in the
we've seen Lamelo's
playoffs.
immaturity off the court, dude. Over here crashing cars and just driving away, you know.
I don't know if you saw that one fan that was pretending to drive a car while he was shooting free throws and like crashing
I
it.
did see,
Like that was
I did
that
see
was
that.
very funny,
I
very good.
did
I
see
mean,
that.
that's good banter right there. So like time and time again, you question Lamelo Ball, and he seems like a good person at heart, and maybe just the competitiveness at that moment maybe took it a little far than he should have. Like
He's got that.
I don't think
Unfortunately,
he
he's got that LeVar Ball father in him, man. It's gonna rub off at some point, man.
yeah, ego and whatnot. Yeah, it's bound to get ugly one way or another.
Well, the Hornets end up winning their first playoff game to move on to the next round, which moved them on to the next round. They won 127-126 in overtime. Before you get to the next game, you're talking about the next playing game, which was the Trailblazers and Suns. Which after the Hornets and Heat game to go to the Trailblazers and Suns, I was like, is it really going to be that good of a game? Funny enough, it was a good game. 114-110. Trailblazers won that game. Trailblazers facing are now went to move on to face the Spurs. Sucks for them. And the Suns had to play a second game. But that ended up being a really close game. Denny Avdija with 41 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists in that game. And their center, Klingon, funny enough, only had 2 points, but he had 11 rebounds. So, he had 3 blocks. So, like, you can live with that. That's something you're going to live with. You wish you'd score more, but 11 rebounds, 3 blocks? Okay.
Yeah, I
Mm,
mean Klingon's a traditional big, and I mean he went 1 for 6, over 3 from 3, so like he wasn't shooting that great either. But like Denny Advia, he's proving that he's worthy of a Most Improved Player award just
yeah,
by his play-in series alone. I mean, to play in the 41-point game and then obviously winning. I mean, he didn't win the Spurs game, but he was the only dude that showed up on the Trailblazers, and that's going
yeah,
to be repeated thing that's going to happen. I mean, sure, you got Drew Holiday. Scoot Henderson has been very, very, very underwhelming. He was someone that had a lot of hype coming into the draft. People liked him. He got drafted high,
he did.
and he's been nothing but a disappointment.
Funny
So,
enough, Scoot had a good game against the Thunder. Which Scoot had a better game in the Thunder, and I'm gonna have to look it up to make sure, but appreciate a better game against the Thunder than Drew Holiday did. Which you
you mean the
expect Drew,
Spurs?
yeah, against the Spurs, yeah. Obviously against the Suns, Drew Holiday dropped 21 and Scoot only dropped 9. But in the Thunder game, which we'll get to, Scoot, I'm pretty sure had a better game than Drew Holiday, which in these situations you would think to rely on Drew Holiday. Not only is he your point guard, he's been in playoff situations, been in final situations, so that'd be a play you want to rely on more. But
I
remember,
mean, he
Scoot,
shot poorly. He shot poorly, but also had 11 assists. So like he was still managed to make impact even at his
right?
worst. Scoot Henderson needed to be efficient from scoring, or he's kind of just not worth even being on the court.
Yeah. The Suns against the Trailblazers that game. Jalen Green. Jalen Green's had a great play. I seriously say this. I don't know too much about his first game, but they face the Thunder. We'll get to that, and the Thunder obviously are gonna just probably sweep them, honestly. But Jalen Green against the Trailblazers, even though they lost, 35 points on 14 for 29 shooting with 5 rebounds, outscored Devin Booker. Devin Booker at 22, which obviously is still good, but 35 from Jalen Green.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that when he was traded away from the Rockets was almost kind of questionable. I mean, I know he's another guy that has questionable character issues and also has his fair share of inconsistencies as well, but I mean, he's a dude that's been averaging 17 all season. Like he's a undeniable bucket, even if he's not like your main guy or someone that you could hope to come in a pinch when your other guys aren't showing up. And Jalen Green had his night, no doubt. I mean, like you don't want to hope that Jalen Green's giving you 35 every night. You'd hope that Booker and Brooks and the rest of your team would step up more. But hey, I mean, it's good to know that you have a guy like that that's capable of pulling out the stops when need be.
Yeah. And then the next playing game, you had Magic and 76ers. And we talked about this a little bit. So we already talked about this a good amount. So we won't get too much into it right now. I didn't mention Desmond Bain game. Desmond Bain had 34 points, 4 for 6 from the 3 point line, 10 for 16 from the field, 10 11 from the free throw, Paulo Banchero had 18 points, but 18 points on 7 for 22 to shooting, 0 for 5 from the 3 point line.
I mean, this is exactly the type of game that the Magic didn't want to have. 7 of 27 as a team from the three. They played extremely ugly. 14
Yeah,
turnovers, 6 for Bencaro, 5 for Bain. And look, Desmond Bain had a fantastic game. And it's like when you have the ball in your hands as much as you do, 5 turnovers is fine. But Paolo Bencaro had an inexcusable game. And the Suns, they came out to play. They were willing to get on top of the Magic when they made dumb mistakes, and every time the Magic tried to make it close, Sixers kept on pulling away. And I mean, plain and simple, it's just like Maxi is just a spectacular player. He's someone
yeah,
that the Sixers better treasure because if they manage to let go of him, that Sixers team crumbles.
100%. Tyrese Maxey with 31 points that game, 6 from 8 from a free throw, 3 for 9 from a 3 point. Also had 6 assists that game. Now, Oubre put in 19. Paul George put in 16 with 5 and 5. And Andre Drummond, what a turn of his career. He's all this time has been a traditional center. And still, he manages to get 10 rebounds this game, but 14 points and hits 2 threes in the fourth quarter. Drummond can shoot
Yeah.
threes this year. When did that become a thing?
I think this year, I think quite literally, this is the first year that he finally like got it. It was almost like he's almost having that Brooke Lopez arc in his career when like he's been a traditional big all of his career. I mean, boards was never a problem for him. He
Right.
just has that knack of being in the right spot, and he's a big body. So like,
Yeah.
unless you're bigger than Drummond, Drummond's likely getting the board. But shooting threes when need to be and putting the dagger in on the Magic. I mean, that's probably the worst person you would want to shoot a dagger three is Andre Drummond. Like he. So yeah, I mean, like it was definitely a well-deserved win by the Sixers, and I mean, they're getting their asses handed to them by the Celtics regardless, but at least they could show that, they deserve that seventh seed.
Yeah, I mean, it. If only if Joel Embiid could be healthy into a playoffs. And I'm not saying if they had Joel Embiid, they beat the Celtics. They still don't. But at least they'd be competitive. You could at least say, "Oh, these are gonna be some good games." These aren't gonna be good games. At least for the
No,
76ers.
you don't want Joe to be your main big. I mean, he's solid. I mean, he's a good vet,
Right.
but like you don't want him leaning on him for 35 minutes in a playoff game. I'm
You're
sorry,
perfectly
it's just
fine
not
with
gonna
him
work.
being the bench center at this point.
No doubt, no doubt.
But starting center is terrible. But the last play on game in that day and at the beginning was Warriors and Clippers. And I think we both had the Clippers winning that game. And the Warriors end up winning 126, 121. Of course, Stephen Curry, fourth quarter, can't miss.
Mhm. Like
Gonna happen.
clockwork.
It's gonna happen. Stephen Curry drops 35 points, 7 for 12 from the 3 point line. And again, most of those from the fourth quarter because I mean, he was having a good game, but at fourth quarter, when they needed him, you give it to Stephen Curry. Guess what he does? He doesn't miss. Doesn't matter if one person's on him, two people are on him. He's moving around. He gets the ball, that pick and roll with Draymond Green. Doesn't matter what you say about Draymond Green. He can set a pick, and them two, it just works every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you could look at this box score and gray out all the names, and you could pick out Steph Curry and Draymond Green in an instant. Because I mean, again, you get your Steph Curry, 35-point game, very efficient, being the head of that team, and then you have Draymond Green, 7 points, 6 boards, 9 assists, 4 steals, and clamped up Kawhi so bad
Oh
at the end
yeah,
of the game. I mean, it was arguably the Draymond Green legacy game at the end, just by his defensive impact because I mean, like, look, Kawhi Leonard has shown he can be clutch in very
hmm
crucial moments when he's needed to be, and they needed him bad, considering that outside of him, Benedict Mathurin and Darius Garland were your best scorers on the night.
yep,
So you needed a Kawhi Leonard type of game to freaking really bring them over the top. And when he was ready to make his move, boom, snatched it, goes the other way, and that's all it took. And I mean, the Warriors are always going to be as far as Curry puts them. Porzingis actually had a Porzingis-like game with 20 of
yep,
his own. And who's this Santos guy? I don't even know the Santos guy. Gui Santos. Never heard of this guy in my life, but he put up a 20 piece as well. And
yep,
Pods did a Pods, 17.7 boards. But I mean, again, you look at this team Al Horford was crucial with some crucial threes at the end of the game to help put them
Al
over.
Horford.
Arguably, the most impactful part about this game is that now that the Clippers are out of the play-in, the damn Thunder have another lottery pick. Same spot as the
Yeah.
Mavericks last year. Same
Yeah.
spot.
All from the one Paul George trade.
Insanity. And Paul George is not even a Clipper anymore, which is craziest part.
And Paul George's in the playoffs at least for this round. You don't about to get eliminated, but it's in the playoffs at least. So at least say that. And with the Clippers this game, obviously they gave it to Kawhi Leonard at the end, wanting him to try and win the game, take over. Which I understand. If you're the Clippers, you're not going to give it to Kawhi. But in the situation where Draymond is on you, he's locking Kawhi up. And obviously, I'm gonna be a little biased since Mathurin used to be a former Pacer. But the only reason I'm saying this, Mathurin was 7 for 11 this game, 5 for 6 from the 3 point line. He was
Yeah.
having a great game. Again, I understand completely giving it to Kawhi because why wouldn't you give it to Kawhi in that situation? But if Kawhi's getting locked up like that, and you have Bennett Mathurin who's been hot all game, I feel like you gotta at least give him a shot, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean that. I mean, I think that does come down to Kawhi, and I very much. I mean, I think Kawhi, no matter what, even if the play was drawn up for anyone else, I'm sure he would have had the executive decision, be like, nope, I'm taking the ball. We live or die by me. And I mean, yeah,
he,
it's definitely fair to look at that. Benedict Mathurin had a fantastic game of his own on both sides of the court.
yep,
But at the end of the day, it's Kawhi's team, literally, and
yep,
they have no other real stars in that team right now. So it's like you gotta live or die by him, man. That's what the Warriors did with Curry. You gotta do
that's
that the
true.
same with Kawhi Leonard.
And Curry pulls it off, and they move. They went to play their next game. As we'll get to that, because the next round of games after that, you get to the game that I didn't want to talk about, the Magic and Hornets. Man, golly, that was a tough watch from start to finish. Now, again, I was high on the. I've been talking about the Hornets a lot of episodes. I was high on the Hornets, expecting them to be in the first round. Now I'm not. Again, I'm not gonna say I expected them to beat the Pistons. But I wanted to see that matchup, and they barely beat the Heat. Which, granted, the Heat had beat them 3-1 in the regular season, but barely beat the Heat. So we go into this Magic game, a team that they beat 3-1 in the regular season, and a team I thought they would have an easier time with, not because they went 3-1 with them, it's because Paulo. All the talk we have about Paulo, he hasn't looked good, and the Magic can't shoot. They have no 3 point shooting at all, and the Hornets, all they do is shoot threes. Like as we've talked about it, they shoot threes, they run up and shoot threes, they run up fast break and run away from the paint to go shoot a three. They shoot threes. So I was like, this should be a good game for them. I don't think
And
I've ever. Obviously, they were cold, but I don't think I've ever seen a team from the beginning of a game be locked up on offense so heavily. The Magic brought out their 2024 Magic. 2024 Magic, we were talking about looking at this team as a future top team in the East because they looked really good, had young players with Paulo, Franz Wagner. Their defense was elite. They just had no shooters. They still got no shooters. They got Desmond Bain. That's about it. But they brought out that 2024 defense against this Hornets team. And I mean, 38-16 in the first quarter. The game was over by the first quarter, and it was
mhm.
really disappointing to see.
It was 27-9 at one point in that first quarter. LaMelo Ball was benched for most of that first half. He almost went to first half scoreless. And he finally got some points later on because they finally realized ah shit, we need LaMelo Ball bad. Even when he's playing awful and not making any of his shots, you still need him.
Because
And I mean
Con's been
here's
terrible. Con was terrible both games, so you couldn't rely on him either.
And I mean, look, he's a rookie.
Yep.
I understand, he's had a fantastic season, but I mean, if you put, especially with someone like Concanumpo that relies on shooting, if he's not on his A game, you need a backup plan. And these are the crucial stats that really screw them because it's like we talk about how bad the Magic are at shooting threes. Magic at 29%. What do the Hornets have? 26%. 20 the Hornets actually made more threes than the Magic still. But then they got outboarded 49 to 34 and the Hornets overall field goal percentage was 33%. 34 if you round
This
up.
is not the MLB.
No, this is
You
even
cannot do
including
that.
layups and mid ranges and not just threes. They still couldn't even hit 35%. So yeah, they were doomed. They were doomed from the get go.
I mean, Lamelo 7 for 17. That really came in the third and fourth quarter where they've been blown out. It didn't matter anymore. Diabate only had 2 points. Bridges had 15 on 5 for 12. Canupa had 11 on 3 for 10. Brandon Miller only somewhat shining point, went 5 for 10 and 4 for 7 from the 3 point line. But then we talked all about Kobe White. Kobe White had 4 points and only took 5 shots. He didn't even try. He wouldn't even
I,
try that game.
I mean, it's funny because it really is like Kobe White. I mean, that is the Kobe White experience because I'm sure Bulls fans could probably agree when it's like, man, there were some nights when Kobe White's like, oh, he's the guy we were hoping he would be when we drafted. And then there's other nights when it's like, wow, I really hate this guy. I wish he was never on my team ever again. And now the
Yeah.
Hornets get that same experience.
And then you go to the Magic. We talked a lot. I realized we didn't talk a lot about Paulo, but Paulo drops 25 points, 9 for 17 shooting, hits two threes in that game, a 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Dude did everything that game. And I mean, again, they dominated, but he did a little bit of everything that game. Franz Wagner finally looking good after being injured all season. He dropped 18 points, 5 for 10 shooting, hit 8 out of 10 free throws. Wendell Carter had 16 points. Desmond Bain had 13 points. And Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs really reminds me of a Patrick Beverly, basically, that can just play a little bit of better offense. Jalen Suggs can score. I mean, he dropped 12 points on 5 for 8 shooting, so it's not like he's an offensive liability. He can score. But the pressure he puts on people from half court is insane.
I think the beauty of Jalen Suggs is that he's just way more of an energy guy. Like
Yeah.
he's not someone that you're gonna want to lean on. I mean, there's a reason why you give 4 draft picks to Desmond Bain, even though he didn't have the best game he could. And it is technically Powell's team at the end of the day, so Powell has to be the leader. But I kind of came to realization of like the dynamic of this team where Jalen Suggs seems like the very vocal dude on this team.
Mhm.
Desmond Bain is more of like the shit talker that tries to get underneath other people's skins, and then Powell is the silent leader, and Franz Wagner kind of follows in line, so does everybody else at that point. So when Suggs is on his game, like how he was when we will talk about the Pistons, the first game between the Pistons and Magic, you saw, like I saw him get hype, get loud, get in people's faces, especially on defense, and he sets the tone for the team.
Yeah.
When things aren't falling and the team is like I feel like Paolo's not the type of guy that's gonna be all rah, let's keep going. Like it's gonna have to be Jalen Suggs has to be that dude. So even when he's not having the prettiest stat lines, he's someone that is certainly a leader on that team. Will definitely be very important for this playoff series, and especially in this game too. He was still important.
Yeah. And then you go on to the last playing game, the Suns and Warriors. And the Suns really just handled the Warriors 111-96. Steph put everything he could in that first game, and it just seemed like he had nothing left in this game. The man went 4 for 16 from the field to that game. 17 points, 4 for 16 from the field. Pod's leading scorer of the team had 23 points, 9 for 17, and 10 rebounds that game. I think that goes to show if Pod's your leading scorer of the team, you're probably going to lose by 20 points. That's probably what's about to happen.
I mean, my favorite thing, I'm not really on Twitter or X, some people like to call it, but I did see that there was like a Pods fan account that was like, I will not post the Pod scores 30 points. And then he finally scored 30 in the last game of the season. He's like, finally, I'm free.
Saw
So
that.
it's like, yeah, so the one Pods fan out there will definitely would have been happy with a nice 23 and 10 double double, but it's
Yeah,
again, when you have Curry shooting as bad as he does and no one else, I mean, you need a couple guys to step up. I mean, even with a team like the Suns, Devin Booker gave you 20 despite him not being on his A game. Jalen Green, who again you were talking about earlier, had a 36-point game in this friggin' series, and then the rest of your team through your six man all came up with double-digit points. and you only had four double-digit guys on the Warriors. So like it just at the end of the day, D'Anthony Melton was one of your better shooters. I'm sorry, it was curtains. It's curtains on this Warrior team, and the only cope that a Warriors fan could have is praying that Giannis comes in through some kind of make-a-wish trade. Because besides that, I mean, I don't know how else you could look at this team and be like, yeah, you could build off of this. Because you really can't.
Yeah. So that goes to show before we get into just the entire first round now as the first round was set. Hornets and Hornets and Warriors. Start with the Warriors. What really is next to the Warriors? Because I obviously with Curry, this is the most you're gonna get. Curry is gonna get you to at least make the playoffs. Obviously this year was just a play-in, but they're gonna at least make the playoffs for Curry. But with just having Curry in this team, this is the best you're gonna get. And obviously, there's a lot of question with Kerr. You're gonna have question with Draymond Green. Do you even keep Draymond Green?
I
Who
mean,
do you think any? Do you think Curry stays on the Warriors by the start of next year? Or do you think he's gone finally?
I think this year has been so uncertain for him. Like I feel like all this year they were just all like more than I mean like even the past couple years you kind of started seeing a little bit of the disdain with the Warriors and the like the him and the Warriors post their last championship. Um but I mean, again, you look at this team, and it's like like who do you even want to keep on this team? I mean, Pods has been the only reliable dude that they've drafted. Porzingis barely can even play due to his mysterious illness, and I mean, he was able to show up the first game, but then come the second game, he was all tired out and
One
couldn't
rebound.
one rebound. Like that's really bad. That's really bad for him. And he's not like a traditional big by any means, but one rebound is spectacularly awful for a dude his height.
Yeah,
And then again, Al Horford is just a rental this year. Like he's going to be on permanent 1 year contracts for the rest of his career. D'Anthony Melton is forever a bench guy. You're not going to be seeing him being a starter anytime soon. Draymond Green, I'm sure he's going to want to be out the door with Curry too because I'm sure he's again he it's gonna look really bad if Draymond Green is the remaining legacy on that Warriors team post Curry. I mean, it's just not gonna look good. So I mean, like they're really, and you can't even really move these guys. I don't even see like real trade value unless if you do trade Draymond Green and Porzingis again, because Porzingis somehow has trade value every single year, no matter who he goes to. He has some kind of trade value. I'm sure
yeah.
you could get something out of Porzingis, but I mean, they're looking to be soon to be basement dwellers once this Curry career is done. So maybe if the Warriors throw a Hail Mary and somehow make something happen, then maybe you could kind of be like, all right, we can have another year or two of Curry and Kumbaya and everything. But it really is
They
looking like the end sooner than later.
they have to if they're gonna do anything, they have to go all out for Giannis. They have to just because even if that means getting rid of Draymond, getting rid of Porzingis, getting rid of Pods even. If you can get a Curry and Giannis to end Curry's career, obviously, if you get rid of Draymond, Porzingis, and Pods, I'm not saying just Curry and Giannis alone could win a finals because you're going to have no depth on that team at all. But one, that's going to bring people to the stands. You're going to have people watch even if Curry's out there no matter what. But having Curry and Giannis on a team, people are going to want to see that. That's going to win games. It at least gives Curry a shot of something to end his career because at this point with this team, yeah, this is the best. Their best is playing at this point. So I think if they want to keep Curry, they really have to Hail Mary it to Giannis at this point. That's the only bet to go with at this point.
Pretty much. That's the only way because Curry, 'cause again, you don't have a big window with this guy. Sure, Curry has practically a timeless, skill set where, no matter how old he's gonna be, as long as he gets an open shot, he's going to knock it down. And
Yeah,
as long as he's still mobile to a sense where he's not a complete liability going up and down the court, he's going to be useful somewhere, whether it's the Warriors or elsewhere. So I remember we were talking a little bit about a LeBron and Kawhi maybe, which again sounds like a
they
fantasy, but if you're the Warriors, you got to make something happen. You got to make a play. You got
yeah
to get someone. So it's like you can't just sit on your hands again and just hope everything works out because it's not. plain and simple. Especially if Kerr's gone too, because I'm sure Kerr is also gonna like again. It's gonna be like a dominoes. It's gonna be dominoes fall. Like if Kerr's gone, Curry's gone, then Draymond's
Draymond.
gone. And what are you holding? What left are you holding after that? You really don't have anything.
Bonds, but you got Bonds. That's about it. That's your
Their
player.
only fruitful draft pick that stuck around. Jordan Poole is supposed to be the next guy, and again, Draymond Green scared him off. So they've been not good at drafting the past couple of years at all.
Yeah.
So, again, it's very this front office has been very questionable and feels like they've just been kind of coasting off of Steph Curry for the past 15 years, and just I was like, all right, cool, you know.
Now for the Hornets, what's the next move for the Hornets? Obviously, like I said they went from 19 to 63 to what 44 wins this year. Made the play in, won their first play-in game, and then got blown out in the second play-in game. Which, funny enough, their last two playoff games they got blown out by 30 points. Their average loss was by 30 points. One to the Heat, and then lost again by 30 points. So they brought that circle back. But honestly, a huge improvement from last year and just the past 4 or 5 years in general. Huge improvement from there. So what's the next step? Obviously, I feel like you have your core set. You have LaMelo, you have Brandon, you have Concanipple, you have Miles Bridges. Diabate isn't a big scoring center, but he's a traditional. He can get down there and get boards. He's funny enough. He's not even a big center, but he's just athletic enough to do that. Kobe White's your sixth man, and he obviously as a sixth man he is streaky, but you can kind of live with that as a sixth man because he's coming off the bench. But obviously, that only got him to this part. So what's next for the Hornets?
I don't think you wanna mess up this chemistry too much, which even with their unusual play style. Like they proved that it worked. Kobe White is a free agent. I don't know if they're gonna want to keep him unless if they get a team-friendly contract out of him. So like I just tend to look at these upcoming free agents and be like, all right, if I were the Hornets, who will be my targets? I would definitely want to target a big. I see. I don't think Vucevic is gonna get a re-sign deal with the Celtics, so he could very well be a target. Yusuf Nurkic is out there; he could be on a cheap deal. Um, Maybe you want a little bit more of a scoring thing. Call me crazy, but someone like a Tobias Harris is also a free agent. Like Tobias Harris is one of those weird guys that he's never talked about. He's never considered the best, but every single year he's on a playoff team. No matter
Yeah,
what team he's on, he's always been in the playoffs. So I think someone like him that just has that sheer experience and probably won't be that expensive at this point of his career. Like those are the type of options I would think with the Hornets that maybe you'd probably want to outbid other people for, but again, won't be like, all right, you're emptying the whole luxury tax just to get someone. Like you're looking for minor improvements for veteran like players. I think that's what the way you want to view the Hornets.
I gotcha. And I think they will at least go back with Kobe White, just because that's a great 60 and a half. Again, if they had no Kobe White, they wouldn't even won that first play-in game. So I think they at least bring Kobe White back. Again, as a six man, that's a really good player to have. A six man. Definitely, when you have Lamelo at your point guard, and you bring another point guard that can score. That team is all about scoring, and Kobe White can score. Again, he's streaky, so he's gonna have bad games, but He's a scoring player. That's kind of their philosophy. Is just scores.
Well, if I remember correctly, I remember come the trade deadline, we're looking at the Hornets lineup and be like, they're like, oops, all guards slash a couple wings. Like they really don't have length or any
Yeah,
real
they don't.
like true
They don't.
bigs. So a center is definitely where I would
Yep.
start because Diabate is fine, but if you're
He's
only gonna
smaller.
rely on Diabate, like he's just not worth it. Like even if you have like a Vooch or if you have a Nurkic, who are again not the most mobile or elite defensive guys, but they'll give you a double double. They'll stretch the floor, and again, maybe they'll get these guys kind of moving in one direction rather than kind of just going everywhere. So like, those are just the type of players. I mean, like I don't think you really be able to get too many like clashing personality guys either.
Hmm.
So that's why like a Tobias Harris type of guy would be a sneaky bench guy. And look, the Hornets have plenty of guards. And I think it's one of those things where if Kobe White just gets a better deal elsewhere, I don't see him sticking around.
Kobe
Plain and
White,
simple.
if seeing that he's a free agent, that could be a great team I could think of him going to is the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves need a guard. They because they everywhere else I said they got Ant at shooting guard. You got Jay McDaniels. You got Julius Randle. As much as I don't like Rudy Gobert, he has moments, and he played great against Jokic's first game, even though they still lost. He played great. They are just missing a point guard. Mike Conley isn't the guy. Even they have Mike Conley come off the bench now. He's just older. They can get a Kobe
Yeah.
White. I feel like that'd be nice.
I mean, I still have belief in Aya DeSumo, but he's a shooting guard. So,
Again,
like, if you
yeah,
want a second guard, like a true point guard to be out there, then fair. Because in the Nuggets game, you had two shooting guards out there with Dante and Anthony Edwards. Like, they
yeah,
had two shooting guards, two power forwards, and a center. So, not exactly the
yeah.
most versatile team. And and again, a lot of like repeating play styles that will ultimately screw you. And the Nuggets know who they are, and they already have their set team of who they are. Like it's going to be a tough series, and who knows? Maybe another scorer could help. I don't know. It's the Timberwolves are kind of like it's so weird how they just can't get over the hump. They always look good, but they can't quite just stick it out with the elite of the elite teams.
And that gets us to the first round of the playoffs. As we I know all the playing games are even to discuss all the playing games, so it gets us to just the first round of the playoffs in general. And that starts us with we had the Clippers. Wow, not the Clippers, the Cavaliers and the Raptors first game, and the Cavaliers and Raptors second game just ended as the stream was going. Cavs were up 2-0 on the Raptors. First game, Cavs won 126 to 113, and not too long ago, the Cavs won the second game 115 to 105. So keeping a double-digit win over the Raptors both first two games at home. What have you really seen these first two games for the Cavaliers?
I mean, this doesn't come to any surprise to me. I do think that there is a gap between the Cavaliers and the Raptors have never been a team that I truly believed in. I mean, like, look, you got Scotty Barnes, who is very, very damn good,
Yeah,
and RJ Barrett, when he decides to show up and play, can be someone that's good, but I look at friggin' Jacopoito, who's someone that they did bring in on a trade, someone that I think was for at least one or two picks, and be like, hey, why aren't you showing up the way you are? I'm pointing the finger at Brandon Ingram, where he's doing stuff, but like
he's looked
he's in the game way too long, and he's way too talented to not be able to take over like he
he's
should
looked
be.
terrible these first two games. First game, he played. Honestly, the second game was even worse. First game, 36 minutes, 17 points. You need more from Brandon Ingram. You need him to be in the 24, 25 point range. But 17 is not terrible. But again, you just need a little more. 17 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Again, okay, but you need more. But
And then
this
they get
second game, he has
God.
7 points. 36 minutes, 7 points on 3 for 15 shooting.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's someone that, like, should be in the talks of, like, an all-star type of guy, but again and again, he just shies away in these big moments, and the Cavaliers prove that they have a recipe that they should not be messed around with. You have James Harden that we were talking about had to be the facilitator. And first
Hmm.
game he had 10 assists. This game tonight, 28 points, only 4 assists, but 5 steals and a block. Like James
Yeah.
Harden is here to play. And it still hasn't messed up Donovan Mitchell's numbers either. He's still that dude
Dropping
scoring
30.
wise. Yeah, and then Evan Mobley has been phenomenal. He had a decent game, like 16 points last time, but then tonight 25 points, only missed twice the whole game. One of those misses was a three-pointer, and he's not really known for shooting threes. And
Right.
then this game, they didn't really need a bench guy, but in game one, you had a 24-point game from Max Strus in the first game.
Bruce,
Where's the Raptors bench? The Raptors don't really have anyone off the bench that you could look at and be like, all right, he's someone that will bail us out if we need someone.
you need Brandon to step up. If they're going to win any of these games, obviously they're going back home. They're going to Toronto now. So Toronto, I mean, they have to win both of these games at this point, dropping both games in Cleveland. But if they're going to have any chance at winning these games, Brandon Ingram has to do more. Scotty Barnes is being good. RJ Barrett has been performing. But 17, like I said, 17 isn't bad, but you need around 24 from Brandon. And then 7 next game? That is
Mm.
that's terrible. So if they have any shot of winning, which again I think they at least pull out a game, but I think I was going into this with Cleveland winning the series, and Cleveland has proven to me they're most likely winning the series. But if Toronto's
And
going to do anything, it has to be Brandon Ingram. The Brandon Ingram has to do something.
yeah, and I mean, like, look, the biggest matchup very clearly is Jakob Poeltl against Mobley because Poeltl is showing that despite being 7 feet tall and 250 pounds, he's a mouse compared to Mobley, who's also not known for being like. I mean,
Yeah,
he's good. He's not quite elite, but he's a very good center. But Mobley shows that he can be elite against subpar talent, and he's showing that. And again, you have Jared Allen, who the coach for the Cavaliers was also the coach on the Nets when they had Jared Allen too. So he has all the faith in the world that you could run Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, double big friggin' minutes, and then just have James Harden, Donovan Mitchell unload. And like, all right, maybe you'll get a Max Strus game, or maybe Dennis Schroeder will show why he gets traded every other season and is still a valuable asset to an NBA team somehow. So, but when you look at the Raptors team, it's like outside of their starting five, who are you gonna look at to be like, we need you, man? Mamu? I can't even say his name. Mamu Shakalufkashvili? No, he's the only guy that I even know on that team on the bench, and I can't even say his name. So, plain and simple, this Cavaliers team should have no problems in the series.
next game we had Timberwolves and Nuggets. Now I'm big on this series. I made sure to watch that full game. Third game two is about to start here in about 30 minutes Eastern time. Starts at 10:30. Late ass game. 10:30
Hmm.
Eastern time. Start time for us. First game, the Nuggets won 116 to 105. Jokic technically had a off game and dropped 25, 13, and 11. That's an off game for Jokic somehow. That's why Jokic is so good. Jamal Murray dropped 30 points. Jamal Murray looked extremely good in the series. Apparently, according to him, he's in the best mind state and physical state he ever has been. And I mean, it showed 30 points, 16 free throws. That's where his points came from because he was 7 for 22 shooting, 0 for 8 at the 3 point line, but 16 for 16 at the free throw line.
Hmm.
You can't
And
let him get to the free throw line 16 times.
And I think you made a great point about Murray being a great mindset because if I recall correctly earlier in the season, he had kind of like a more personal interview talking about during the throes of when he was a really injury prone guy, he was very not confident in his game. And and the people within the Nuggets franchise really talked to him and said, "Hey, we believe in you. You know what you're capable of, and we're going to be patient with you." And it's been paying off in dividends because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jokic is the Batman, Jamal Murray's the Robin. You know,
Yeah.
God forbid Jokic doesn't have a 30-point triple double. He only has a 25-point triple double. Boom, Jamal Murray's giving you 30, and
Yeah.
he's drawing fouls if need be. Still gives you a seven assists so that he'll still be your main facilitator if he has to be, if it's not coming from Jokic. And then yeah, and then it's just another one of those nights where Anthony Edwards has to be on his A game. He shot poorly. Julius Randle, who's someone that would probably be the next guy in line and be your main guy, shoots poorly. And and look, when Rudy Gobert is your second best scorer, it's just not going to be a good night for you. And I mean,
But
great, 8 of 9 from the field, that's great, but
yeah,
you need some spacing.
you know what he can't do though? Shoot a goddamn free throw. That dude can't shoot free throws to save his life.
No, no, 1 of 5 from free throw, like that's really bad.
The
I
dude
mean,
can't
that's
shoot
just
free
a
throws
par
at
for the
all.
course. That's
Yeah,
a par for the course for him, sadly.
and Ant is just coming off an injury, which you can kind of. It's funny that he says he's coming off an injury, and sometimes you see it, but then other times he's still blowing past guys, spinning past guys, doing layups in between people. Like injury, where'd the injury come from? But that game, granted, Ant had 22 points, so he's a leading scorer, 7 for 19 shooting. That's the best shooting game. DiVincenzo and Dosumo were probably the best two players on the court for more than half the game. Again, Ant had 22, but he took 19 shots. DiVincenzo had
Hmm.
12 points on 9 shots, went 4 for 7 from the 3 point line, was 3 for 3 from the 3 point line through the first half. He couldn't
Yeah.
miss a shot to start the game. Now, second half, he's went a bit slower, but first half, he was the best player on that Timberwolves team. And when Dosunmu came in off the bench, he had moments where he looked like the best player on the Timberwolves team. Now, again, granted, Ant had all the minutes, 38 minutes, and Sing was 28, and Devin was 31. Ant put way more shots up, so he scores the most. But if you're getting that out of Dante and Dusumo, that puts you in a great spot for the Timberwolves. If Ant can just be a little bit more efficient, which you're not going to get 7 from 19 Ant every game. So if you let him be a little bit more efficient, they can win that game. Him a little bit more efficient and Jamal Murray, not 16 free throws. If Jamal Murray just has 10 free throws, they're in that game. But 16?
I, I'm I think if you look at the team stats for the game, like they were pretty much dead even on a lot of things, and the Timberwolves shot better from the field. I was ready to say the Timberwolves weren't shooting well, and again another one of those instances, but they shot 46% to Nuggets 43, and they shot 32% from three to Nuggets 27. So you can't even point like probably the free throws. I think where you're hitting on the head, where the Nuggets hit 90% to the Timberwolves 73,
Yeah.
and you had 19 free throws for the Timberwolves versus 33 for the Nuggets.
I
So
mean,
like,
19 free
that's the
throws for
point
the
difference right
entire
there.
Timberwolves team, and Jamal had 16 himself. So, like,
An 11-point game with a 14 free throw difference, that's a big difference. That really can decide
yeah.
a game. And, and especially in crucial moments, big part of it is not fouling and playing great defense. And clearly the Timberwolves couldn't do that. And I
I'm
think it's going to be a long, long series if you're shooting better and you're still losing.
it's gonna be a long series. I'm still pulling for the Timberwolves. Granted, they have to win tonight. You can't go down 2-0. Even going back home, you can't go down 2-0 against the Nuggets. They have to win tonight. Again, starts in 25 minutes now. Again, that game was winnable. First game in Denver. Denver was home. Ants coming off an injury. They lose by 11, but if two things go different, they can win that game. Again, if Ant can just shoot a little bit better, which I see him doing, and Jamal Murray has just a little bit less free throws, they win a game. So I'm still pulling for the Timberwolves this game for this series. But again, they have to win tonight. They have to.
Yeah, you don't want to go 0-2 back home. I mean,
Again,
you ideally splitting the first two games would be the best chance at them because if you go down 0-2 quick, if you're not ready to even out that series come game five, you're done in 5 games. Plain and simple. Like
yeah.
the Nuggets are not here to play. They know who they are. They don't have to worry about anyone stepping out of line. Like you have your set number one scorer, Jamal Murray's
hmm
second, Aaron Gordon is your solid third guy vet. Cameron Johnson has been a great addition to this team as well, and yeah, plenty of bench guys that are capable of stepping up if need be between Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown. Valanciunas is deep on that bench. It didn't get much time, but like you never know, man. You never know when you need them.
Yeah.
And Timberwolves, I mean, yeah, you got Nasri and Sumu, but that's about it, really.
Yeah. Now going to our next game of this play, in which the play in the playoffs, which their second game is going on right now. Got the Knicks and Hawks. Game two is going on right now. Knicks are up 89-78 with a minute 30 left. You see me looking off to the left. That's what's going on the side. I have the Knicks Hawks game going on. First game, the Knicks won 113-102. It was actually a really good game. It was a really competitive game. Granted, it ends an 11-point game, but for most of the game, it was really close. And I really want the Hawks to win this series. More than anything, I don't like the Knicks. I can't stand the Knicks. Coming from the Pacers, there's two teams I hate the most in the NBA. It's the Knicks and the Lakers. Those are the two
Hmm.
teams I can never stand for. Lakers, it just this year, it is what it is. I mean, Luca's Luca, but and obviously I don't want to. I think they're going to lose this series, but I don't want to see Luca out. I want to see Luca playing. But the Knicks, oh God, I want the Knicks to lose, and I like this Hawks team. They're young. Jalen Johnson's really good, but he's struggling right now in game two. Jalen Johnson has looked really good, so I really want this Hawks team to beat the Knicks, and I had faith in them. But how this game two is after losing game one and down 79-91 in game two, the hope is starting to run out for me with this Hawks team to beat the Knicks this series. Unfortunately, the Knicks are just
I,
too. They've had this team for some years, and it shows. Again, kind of how you were talking about with the Nuggets. They know everybody knows their role. It's the same for the Knicks. Everybody knows their role. Jalen Brunson, as much as I hate Jalen Brunson, especially in playoffs. The dude balls out, man. The dude had 17 points in the first quarter of Game One against the Hawks. It was the Jalen Brunson first quarter of Game One, and so I got the pleasure of watching that live. I was, oh, this is an amazing game to watch. Josh Hart is a very annoying player to face. So is Jose Alvarado, who's on the court right now, another very annoying player to face. Cat, I mean, he gets his 10 rebounds. He can shoot. He just walks up and shoots threes. They just all have their roles, and they all have been here so much that they know exactly what to do. And this Hawks team is brand new to this. You got somebody like Dyson Daniels, who great defender, but at shooting guard can't shoot. That's gonna cause you an issue in this type of series. They played 36 minutes and scored 4 points in the first game. It's just not gonna cut it, and it just unfortunately, it's really my faith in the Hawks is really starting to dwindle already for them this series.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it was evident that the Hawks weren't ready. Like I feel like they're ahead of schedule on like who they can be with this new look team that they have. And again, the Knicks are just way more organized as far as who they are. And the first game was the most classic Knicks game you can have, where you have Jalen Brunson leading the force with 28 points, shooting well enough that he's not like a liability. And then obviously have Carl Towns behind him, and everybody like OG is again like he doesn't shoot often, but he makes sure he doesn't miss. Like you
Yeah,
can't leave any of their guys open. Just about everyone on that team can shoot, and that's when they're most scary. And Josh Hart, not known for being a great shooter, still got you a double double in the first game with 3 steals. Like that's still super impressive.
yeah,
And then come second game, this is more the type of game where if you're the Hawks, you're looking at Jalen Brunson not having the usual game he normally has and actually shooting poorly. No one on the Knicks is taking over per se, but the Hawks just don't have the capability of keeping up with them.
and
Where
Jalen
when
Johnson's been
you
getting shut down this game. He
Yeah,
hasn't
and
been able to do
McCollum's having a
anything.
great game. McCollum's having a great game, and that's someone that, of course, you want him having a great game. He's one of those guys you're expecting to. But Alexander Walker with 6 points, Jalen Johnson 11 points. That can't be happening. And
Yeah,
and it's just plain and simple. The Hawks are going to need more help, and unless if they're ahead and they're able to stay ahead, I just can't see how they can win any games. Really, they could very well get swept at this rate
I'll give
because
him
this is the
one.
type of game you need to win.
Let Jalen Johnson go off one game. They can at least win one. But yeah, I was really hoping that the Hawks. Obviously, I had a little faith that maybe they win it, but at least I was having hope this would be a good series because I like this Hawks team. But I mean, it really just goes to show the Knicks are just almost all around just the better team than them. They've done it the first game. It's not like they're blowing these. It's not like they're getting blown out, but like they're just staying when it gets close. The Hawks have to get on a good run to make the game real close again. And the moment they do that, the Knicks shut it down and they go on a big run and put it back up to
Hmm
10, 15 points a game. And that's kind of just how this game was going back and forth. The Hawks would have a run to make it close, and the Knicks would have a run to put it back up to 15 points.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks will make a 5 point difference look like a 15-point game. Just because they're very fundamentally sound, they're very well coached, and funny enough, without Thibodeau, when they're able to rest more and have less minutes, they just look more fresh. And it's almost like the trial by fire with Thibodeau beforehand helped condition them to a point where now they can make a run without him. And and they're such a well-oiled machine where they are more than capable of when you make mistakes, we're taking advantage of it. You make a bad pass, we're intercepting that pass and going the other way. Um, and the Knicks are the type of team that you have to force them to make mistakes. They're not going to make their own mistakes. You have to be on their asses. And I honestly thought the Hawks team was going to be a type of team that they were going to be capable of stopping or at least slowing them down. And even when they do, they don't have the same scoring to keep up with them. And
Yeah.
again, not didn't really expect much from the Hawks anyways this year. Just very glaring weaknesses, but I think they're trending in a great direction where a year or two from now we could definitely see them being like, oh, they're a fourth seed now. They could really look threatening, but they're not there yet.
Now I'm gonna get through two games real quick where I think these series aren't gonna be have much to talk about in general. Thunder and Suns, Trailblazers and Spurs. I honestly think both of those series are going to be a sweep. Thunder won game one, 119 to 84, not even a close game. Spurs won their first game, 111 to 98, a little bit closer, but still a pretty comfortable lead. As you mentioned earlier, Denny Avdija for the Trailblazers is the only person doing anything against Spurs at all. And that's just not going to be enough to beat a Spurs team. Obviously, Wemby's going to do his thing. Wemby in game one, first game of the playoffs, 35 points, 5 for 6 from 3 point line, only 5 rebounds, 1 assist, but great offensive game. Obviously gets 2 blocks, but I mean, still, De'Aaron Fox gets 17, Castle gets 17, Vassell gets 15. When then you go to the Trailblazers, Avdija gets 30. That's about it. Then you get Scoot Henderson, as I was mentioned. Scoot Henderson in his first playoff game dropped 18. So he looked good in his first playoff game. That's not a playing game. But that's it. That's literally it. That's all the Trailblazers got against them.
Yeah, they're a filler team, plain and simple. I mean, like they're lucky to be in the situation they are. And when you see Wemby doing the things that he does, where I mean, you have big men like Robert Williams and Klinging out there trying to contest Wemby, and they cannot even reach his face to friggin' block him or the ball, to try.
Yeah.
So I think I had this one play imprinted in my mind where Wemby got the ball, he's dribbling up the court, he friggin' goes behind his back, crosses enough Advia, stops, still keeps his dribble, dribbles a little more, does a spin move, and again looks like a layup, but he dunks the ball on a layup essentially. And I mean, again, when you're able to break out those moves, change directions, and score, and you're by far the tallest dude on the court. I mean, it's just unfair. And
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox, who's typically someone that was expected to shoulder the load for his teams in the past, now can take a back seat. Stephon Castle now can develop better when he otherwise. I mean, again, he didn't have a good shooting night, but when Wemby's 35 points and he barely misses, I mean, you could get away with a lot, and especially against a Trailblazers team that doesn't have much answers for anything, unless it's Advia. Scoot, I'll give him some credit for the game he had, and you gotta pray Drew Holiday doesn't have a bad shooting night, and maybe you'll keep it close, but that still isn't enough.
Yeah.
Definitely not
And
against this team.
I honestly see those two being pretty easy sweeps. There's just nothing those teams can really do against those two teams. I mean, those two teams are top of the West for a reason. Facing playing teams, it's gonna show that they're facing playing teams. I mean, just the record alone goes to show how much of a difference they are. So I think those are gonna be two easy sweeps. And that gets us to the last three series that we can really talk about, starting with Rockets and Lakers. Funny enough, obviously Kevin Durant missed his first game with a knee injury. Well, I say knee injury that he got during warmups. As I say, he just wanted to see if the Rockets could win without him. That's how I see it as. And they showed they cannot. No Luca, no Austin Reeves, and the Lakers beat the Katie List Rockets 107 to 98 off the back of Luke Kennard dropping 27 points. Now, granted, Marcus Smart dropped 15, Ayton dropped 19, LeBron dropped 19 and 8 rebounds, Ayton had 11 rebounds, and Hachi had 14. So everybody at least scored, which is also kind of a scary sight to see that this Rockets team can't stop that many people from dropping double digits in one game. But Luke Kennard, 27 points, 9 for 13 shooting, 5 for 5 from the 3 point line.
I mean, the jokes write themselves, man, because it's like, again, especially with the Durant, I don't hate your theory, because, I mean, like, it's very coincidental that Durant had a week or so to rest, and then all of a sudden he magically pulls up the day of the game, and be like, I can't do it, man. And again, he's older, so I get it. He could very well just tweak something. Maybe he got out of bed the wrong way, and,
That
you know, that could very well have happened, and it never got better, but the Lakers team shot so efficiently, and again, an otherworldly 27 from Luke Kennard. I mean, it hides the fact that Marcus Smart shot terribly,
put a whole
and
accent on that
LeBron.
dude's name.
Oh yeah, I had the Boston come out of me there. Marcus Smart. And then LeBron almost had a triple double. Still the
Yeah,
fantastic player he is. He's not going to give you the big scoring nights, but he'll dime it out. He'll get boards when he needs to be. And if and I'm sorry, Sengun, but if you make DeAndre Ayton look like a viable big, I'm sorry, but what are you gonna do? Well, what can you
got
do?
got out
Ahmed Thompson's great.
got out
Sorry.
rebounded by 308 and shot 6 for 19 at Winston game.
And Sengun's supposed to be their main guy outside of
Yeah,
Durant, and he's not ideal for being that main guy. Like his play style demands it because he is like a baby Jokic, where he can do points, boards, and assists, and can do a little bit in the paint, but he's not the same size or demeanor. And then I mean, Jabari Smith Jr. had a double double.
he
Okay,
did.
Reed
He
Shepard
did.
shot
I'm sh-
terribly. Like
I'm
he
sure
shot
Katie was tweeting
14
about that
threes.
game. About
Oh
Jabari
yeah.
Smith with this double double.
I mean, how many burners he has? I'm sure he's already on his fifth burner since the All-Star incident. So, I mean, he's definitely having a field day, chilling. And I mean, you're not going to see a Luke Kennard game like this every night. So, I mean, I'm sure with Durant, it'll be not like this, and maybe the Rockets will get things going. But as
I
far
still
as
have
a
the
game
Rockets
without
winning
him,
this
it's
series. Yeah, I still did.
it might be the best series. I did say the Lakers are going to win the first game. I wasn't expecting they were going to win like this, but they still did it. And it does put into question more how the Rockets are going to be. Now with Durant, we'll answer that question. Hopefully, be back game two, and maybe I'll see things more clearly. But right now, this is definitely going to look like the best series of the whole playoffs.
Yeah. And last two series before we wrap this up. I know it's a longer episode, and I'll let you lead this one because I won't have much to say about this. Because, I mean, if you ask me what is there to say, the Celtics beat the 76ers 123 to 91 in the first game. Not a close game at all. Not competitive. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown dominated the 76ers. I mean, what is there
Yeah,
to
I
say, man?
mean, you want to talk about belt to ass? I mean, like the Thunder are the only team to outdo them, but as far as like giving up less points, but this was a game that again Celtics got up early. They increased the lead every single quarter, and Maxey still got his way. Edgecombe did well, and Paul George still shot fine. But I mean, like, fine is not good enough when you play against this team. When you have Brown going for 26 every night, Tam going for 25 every night, you need two 20-point scorers at the bare minimum to
Yeah.
keep up. And Oubre, who shot fantastic in their playoff game and was the difference in that Magic game, now shot 5 for 14 over 5. The Celtics showed zero respect for Kelly Oubre. They weren't even trying to guard him. So like they know that as long as they keep hold of Max and they keep a hold of Paul George, they'll live with everything else. And what I'm loving about this team is that Jason Tatum, despite him going 1 for 7 from three, still shot over 50% from the field, still got a double double, and he's looking like his old self. He's looking amazing. Like I don't know, like he's looking more and more like himself every time. Where it's almost like he never got injured in the first place. How he's playing,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So obviously, you being the Celtics fan, you're going to be cheering for them. Is there any hope for the 76ers to even pull off a game in this series?
I mean, like, if Maxey can score 30, if he just all of a sudden becomes unstoppable on Paul George, because, I mean, again, it's got to be Paul George and Maxey has to shoulder load every night. At the very least,
What about
they have to
VJ?
show up. I mean, again, VJ Edgecombe showed during the regular season he was capable. But
Mm-hmm.
rookies don't have the best track record. And again, 6 of 16, 0 for 5 from three. Like he's trying, and he made some tough shots. Like I'll give him credit where credit's due. But if you're hoping a VJ Edgecombe to be a difference maker in this series, it's not gonna. It's still not gonna be it. Maybe 2 or 3 years from now, when Edgecombe is more, used to being in the league and
Mm-hmm.
has more experience, and okay, maybe I could see it. But this team. I mean, yeah, I think Embiid would have made a big difference maker because, I mean, you look at the bigs on the Celtics, Nemez Keita, despite him not playing many minutes, still had 13 points in 15 minutes because he got in foul trouble and didn't miss a shot and also
Yeah.
got a block. And then Vooch, I mean, Vooch is still getting used to being in it. And Garza, when he comes out to play. And it's like you look at the Sixers, you have Adem Bona as your starting center, who, again, who? Who?
Yeah.
Like he's a
Yeah.
6'10" big, not really a true center. He's barely the size of a normal center, 6'10", 235. And for this season, he was 4 points, 4 rebounds. He's not a starting quality guy. And you better pray Drummond will come off the bench and do something. And again, what can you expect? Quentin Grimes has to be someone that has to show up. And again, you're asking these guys who don't show up normally to be important because this Celtics team are tightly, they're a tight knit team. Just like the Nuggets earlier, everybody knows who they are and how they have to play, and the Celtics aren't messing around. So I just don't see any way that the Sixers can turn this around unless everybody plays lights out.
Yeah. And the last game to talk about this series, again, the Knicks are playing right now. Still up by 9 with 7.5 left, 96-87. So Jonathan Kaminga just picked up his fourth foul, and I just watched Nickel Alexander Walker hit airball a shot. So me, every time I look over, it really doesn't, it doesn't make me feel any better. Last game
Yeah.
to talk about Magic, and we mentioned this. Magic won first game in Detroit, 112 to 101. Now for Detroit, Cade still put up a great game. 40 minutes, 39 points, 10-11 from the free throw line, 13-27 from the field, so just under 50%. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. So he did everything he could. And then you have Tobias Harris. He had 17 points. And you mentioned Tobias Harris might be a person that the Hornets could be looking at. Tobias Harris put up 17 points. Obviously, shooting wise, doesn't have a great night, but again, still 17 points. That was it. Jalen Duran put up 8 points, and Amin Thompson put up 8 points, and Duncan Robinson put up 9 points. And Jalen Duran only had 7 rebounds. That's supposed to be the number two to Kate Cunningham. It's supposed to be Kate and Jalen Duran basically was non-existent for game one. And for the Magic, I mean, Paulo led his team with 23 points, but again, they all did something. Paulo 23, Carter 17, Dane 17, Suggs 16, and Franz Wagner 19. All of them did something to the Pistons' Kate Cunningham, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this one game should raise like warning signs to this Pistons because I mean I was definitely confident in the Pistons because again you're the one seed, they were dominant all year with or without Cade, it didn't matter.
Right.
But then you really dig into the weeds of this team, especially in this game in particular, because I mean, watching it, seeing Cade, it kind of felt like Cade had to do everything. He felt like he didn't have a reliable guy to lean on, and even Tobias Harris, with his 17 points, was still 5 of 15, 1 of 7 from three. And
Yeah.
then Duncan Robinson, he can only reliably shoot threes. He was 3 for 6 from three. I remember those two shots he missed inside the 3-point line. They were both, he was trying to go up into the paint both times, got swatted both times. Like, and then he kind of just gave up. He was like, all right, I'm done scoring. I tried my best. And I mean, and then the Thompson twin, like he's definitely not. I mean, Oscar Thompson's not as good as his brother, and I mean, like he's still plenty fine as a defensive guy, but he's not someone that I don't think could be relied on either. Jalen Duren, no doubt, this should be his series, but I mean, like, look, the Magic. This is the type of team the Magic want to play against.
And
It's like
the
a
Pistons
team that
never had
can't
to
shoot.
lead that game.
No, and
They
that's
never
the
had to
craziest
lead
part.
that game. And again, we mentioned Jalen Duran. Again, Jalen Duran's supposed to be number two to Kate Cunningham, and he's their big. He's supposed to be in the paint. He can score. He can rebound. He can play defense. The Pistons, the Magic outscored the Pistons 54-34 in the paint. So
Yeah.
not only did Jalen Duran not score, not get rebounds, he didn't stop him in the paint either. You got
Yeah,
to do
and
something.
exactly. And and then the guys off the bench, like Kevin Herter is supposed to be a guy that's supposed to light up the 3-point, when he comes in, he barely had anything to show. No one on the bench did anything really.
No, nobody. I
So,
mean, again, nobody other than Amin Thompson. Obviously, again, Tobias Harris 17 points, but not consistent. But them two are the only person in double digits at all.
yeah, and I mean, this is the exact team the Magic want to match up against. I mean, if anything, they were smart for losing the game against the Sixers. Maybe they're purposely trying to lose that game because, when the Celtics are a much better 3-point shooting team, they have way better bigs, and they would
Yeah,
much better, match up in all facets. But when you look at this Magic team, Bane had 2 steals, Suggs had 3 steals, Wagner had 2 steals, Powell had a steal. Carter had 2 steals. Everybody on that starting five showed up in the defensive stat wise, and even without needing that many boards, all things considered, like they didn't really need a lot of boards. They did outboard them by 6, 45 to 39, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is the type of physicality that gives Magic fans hope. It's like, hey, maybe we could upset the Pistons, and that would be I think that would be enough to save the head coach's job because there were rumors about the Magic head
Yeah,
coach being gone no matter what he does with this Magic team. But if you could beat a one seed, I mean, you may have to double question, be like, are we sure this is the best option? Are you sure you don't want to give him another year or two to see if maybe he could really be our guy?
I will say, granted, we mentioned again they're playing, and they're definitely playing defense like that 2024 Magic team. This is probably the first time they've had all their players healthy since that 2024 Magic time because Paulo's been out with injury. Franz Wagner's been out with injury. Jalen Suggs has been out with injury. They just got Anthony Black, which right now in the playoffs, Anthony Black's kind of been really a no-show. He hasn't really done too much. But again, he's still coming off the bench. But between Bonchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs, all three of them have been dealing with injuries since that 2024 season. It's the first time we've really been able to see them all on the court together. And I mean, they are reminding us who they were. I'll say that. They were reminding us the team they had.
Yeah, it's a bully ball team, and someone
Yeah.
like Goga Batazde is the perfect guy to match up against Isaiah Stewart. You want to talk about a dude that wants to get physical and wants to fight someone? Like, hell, he tried to fight Luka Doncic during the year, and he's not afraid of Isaiah Stewart. I mean, granted, Isaiah Stewart's a way different dude, but, I made a joke on Blue Sky where it's like every team should have a goon like a Goga Batazde that is just there to fight, there to be physical, not there to score or anything offensive wise, but just to be there to be a menace. Because when he's there and he's a menace and disrupts you offensively on those off minutes when you have your Paolo on the bench, um, it gets scary.
Yeah.
And the Pistons got to be very worried about turning the ball over because this could very well be a series that gets out of hand if Kate Cunningham's doing too much and turning over the ball too much because he doesn't have any real help. This Magic team could very well win the series.
Yeah. And I still have faith in this Pistons team to turn around this series. Granted, it's just one game, but it really, honestly, it really comes down to Jalen Duren. Ahmed Thompson, you want a little bit more. You want 12 to 15 from Ahmed Thompson, obviously. But Jalen Duren has to step it up again. Only 8 points, only 7 rebounds, and you get outscored by 20 points in the paint. You got to do something, man. I need a bigger defensive presence from you. I need some more rebounds. I need some more scoring. He just didn't do any of the things that he's good at. None of that happened that game. Now, granted, I don't know if that can sustain all series, but if Jalen Duren can't get going, again, obviously it shows the Magic got this. Because again, not even the Magic win this. The Pistons never had a lead. So
Yeah.
get Jalen Duren going. This Pistons team still can show the number one seed and beat them. But I'll say this: like what they did to the Hornets by blowing them up by 30, and then coming into Detroit and beating Detroit and never letting them have a lead. It's at least it's scary. It's scary for Orlando. They
It,
proven themselves.
And there's way many better bigs than Wendell Carter Jr. If you're telling me that Jalen Duran is scared of Wendell Carter Jr. and was able to give up 17 points, 7 boards, and 5 assists to this guy who otherwise is only 11 point per game guy, about the
Yep.
same in rebounds, and only dishes twice, and Wendell Carter managed to dish 5 times. Like, clearly Wendell's getting the ball a lot more than he should be, that
Right.
someone like Durant should be handling. And, that is a big difference maker when, Cade almost has 40. He kind of had a Donovan Mitchell type of night in previous years with the Cavaliers where he
Mm-hmm.
was the guy, no one else can get going, and then the Cavaliers lose because of that. Now you're seeing the same here with the Pistons.
But that is going to wrap it up for our first playoff episode of the 2026 NBA season. Again, much longer episode, but we had a lot to cover. Playing games, first games of the playoffs. So stay tuned for now. Again, still Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern time for these shows. Again, as we get further on, we might start switching up. But for now, we'll be 9 o'clock Eastern time on the Grit Network for these shows. Again, Knicks and Atlanta are playing right now. They got 5 minutes left. Knicks are up 192. So still a single digit game, but like the Knicks are just keeping them at arm's length of this game. And the Timberwolves game started just showed at 10:40. So we got a little bit of time before they start. So stay tuned. Both games are on Peacock. So gotta have all the streaming services. First the games were on Prime. Now they're on Peacock. Prime couldn't, gotta take off of Prime because you get into the overtime in Prime, and Prime can't keep the show going anymore.
I mean, I could go another half hour about how awful these exclusive freaking exclusivities on games are. It's ridiculous. I hate it all. How does Amazon, multi-trillion-dollar corporation, can't get your damn service to work when this is something you've been doing all year long? I know this is the playoffs, but like, what are we doing,
And
guys? Like,
it's happened every time. When Netflix got big games, Netflix wasn't working. Amazon get big games, Amazon doesn't work. It's like Jesus Christ, y'all gonna get the big games and then don't work? That makes
can you
no
at least
sense.
prepare? Can we get more bandwidth going to these games? So you know people are going to be watching that more than anything else on your streaming
Yeah.
service at that moment. You should be prepared.
So yeah, hey, if you guys got it, hey, watch it. If not, people are gonna
Tough
find a
shit.
third party. I got
Hey,
nothing.
you sail the high seas, or like Adam Silver says, at least you can watch the highlights on YouTube, Porby. And that's
That's
pretty much what it is. Because if
that's
you can't afford
devious.
it, watch the YouTube highlights. Sorry.
That's devious, bro. Somebody get Adam Silver out of here, bro. So worried about tanking, he can't get the games to stream correctly. But
It's always the wrong things to worry about.
games can't stream correctly, but we can have a Magic City night in Atlanta. Hey,
Hey man, if it wasn't for Luke Cornett, we would have had that. We would have had it. We would have had that happen. But Luke Cornett in his white knight donned his armor and said, "Not today, Magic City. Better luck next time."
well, stay tuned. Again, 9 o'clock on the Grid Network. We'll be here Monday, so stay tuned for the Pull the Chair podcast.